Welcome to Raving Ryan. I have a very special guest here. State Senator from Connecticut's 28th District, Tony Hwang. Senator, how are you?
I'm great, Ryan. How are you?
I'm very good.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up as a state senator?
I've lived in Fairfield for over 20 plus years, and I was very involved in my children's upbringing, and then we ran into a situation with education and redistricting. So I ran for my local governing board and got elected, and then felt very disappointed with the way our state government was running, and in 2008 ran for state representative. And to my amazement, I was one of the very few Republicans that challenged an incumbent Democrat that actually won throughout the entire country in the quote Obama tsunami. So since then, I've served since 2008, and last year I had the incredible honor and privilege of being elected to the 28th Senate District, which encompasses the 5 towns of Fairfield, Westport, Easton, Weston, and Newtown Sandy Hook. So it's been an incredible experience, an incredible honor being a state senator.
In Fairfield, it's already been a hectic year. General Electric has announced to be leaving its Fairfield headquarters to move to Boston. Obviously, a huge loss for both Fairfield and the state of Connecticut. But can you give us a little bit of a status update of what's going on now?
Well, they have made that decision. They are going to Boston. It is really a punch to the stomach for Fairfield and for Connecticut business's reputation as well. You know, when you lose an iconic company that is so world known, and to lose it after they've chosen Connecticut as their home for over 40 years, is something that we're still not getting used to, and it is going to have a significant impact on how our town in Fairfield and the state is going to reshape ourselves, because not only do they take jobs and economics and taxes and real estate taxes and income taxes, they also take away so many really talented people that makes our community so special through their charity work, through their neighborly contributions. So GE is much more than just a corporation. It's about people and our neighbors that are going to be impacted. It's almost as though for you, Ryan, if Yale picked itself up and decided to leave this area, what devastation would that be?
Yeah, it'd be a big devastation.
Yeah.
What surprised me the most is that GE moved to Massachusetts and not like a tax haven like Texas or New Mexico. But can you tell us a little bit about what the future looks like for businesses in Connecticut?
Well, that's the real challenge, right? I always like to look at it as a glass half full. It is a punch in the stomach, and we have shown ourselves that we have to do better. And that's why it's such an incredible privilege and honor to be a state senator. Is we're one of 36 individuals that can help shape policy and learn from our mistakes from the past budget, which I did not support, and really just go up to Hartford and represent people and make these hard decisions that are necessary so that we can prevent other corporations and other businesses from wanting to leave our great state of Connecticut.
Yeah, and speaking of that, do you think we will see any other businesses leaving?
Well, I certainly hope not, but unfortunately, these are kind of the ebbs and flows of how businesses operate. They're always looking for different options, and that's why for us in the General Assembly, we really have to work hard, and we have to work now to make sure that we are crafting and creating policies that says to these corporations and small businesses and mid-sized businesses that, you know what, we're here for you, you got to stay, because we're going to make it better for you.
In our last legislative session, you introduced the Zero Tolerance Safe School Environment Act. It says that we need stronger punishments for people that call in threats to schools.
Yeah, it's a horrible reflection of the society we live in, and you can imagine. I know, you're a youngster in school, and your brother's in school. Can you imagine what horrible feelings it has for you if somebody made a call and threatened your school? It really disrupts your school day. It cancels everything that you do. It creates uncertainty. But imagine, as much as you're troubled, Ryan, think about how your parents feel. Think about how the law enforcement officials who want to be sure that they're there to protect you feel.
It's really a upsetting and inconsiderate and dangerous game that people have played. It's no longer a childish endeavor where people say, I don't want to go to school today, I'm going to pull the fire sprinkler alarm. No, these are very serious, very intense threats that has an intention to create terror and harm to the psyches of young students, all of our students, teachers, and parents. And this is a way for us as lawmakers to seize control, to say to those people that want to do us harm, that want to create terror, that we're here, and when we catch you, we're going to punish you on the highest level under law, so don't try it.
And I know that last October, I think it was, there were threats called into Fairfield, I believe.
Yes, it's amazing. It's October. We're already in March.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. And my son was a 16-year-old high schooler and went through that experience. And I was a parent that got one of those calls. So, I went through all that experience. But it's not just Fairfield. It's not just my child. It's so many other families and communities that are being threatened by this. It's a law that allows us to say, we're going to catch you, and when we catch you, we're going to punish you to the highest level under law. And then I think the second more important thing is also to share with our youngsters and people who may think that this is a fun, practical joke, that in this day and age, that is no such thing. It is a serious crime, and we take it as such.
And I know gun control is a huge topic. Your district is in Newtown, and it's been a big topic on the national stage and state stage. But can you tell us what Connecticut's doing to try to have stronger gun laws?
Well, I think the strong gun laws was precipitated by what happened in Sandy Hook and the mass shootings that we have. And in some cases, it really is something that we have to consider. But I'm also balanced with what we have to do in respecting law-abiding Second Amendment, gun owners. And to create that balance and being respectful of that balance, that people who want to control guns should not always see as the total enemy the people who are law-abiding gun ownerships. When you talk about that type of a nuance, it's something that we're significantly missing in this dialogue. It's been one way or the other. And I hope that we reach a compromise to understand that, there can be law-abiding gun ownership who respect and understand the law, but also that afford the Second Amendment is part of their Constitution. I think the mother and really important part of the gun law that was unprecedented and passed in Connecticut was, people don't always think about it, is there are two major other components beyond the gun control. I think the first one was really a reallocation, reprioritization of how we fund and care for those that are mentally ill, that need that kind of support and health services. We allocated some money to that arena. The third area is we also allocated money to help our schools to be sure that we create safer, more secure structures against these kind of attacks. And I believe consistent with our with our school threat bill is that continuation of creating a safe school environment.
2016 is election year. All 36 members of the Connecticut Senate will go up for re-election, and all 151 members of the House. Do you think the Connecticut Republicans can take over the General Assembly again?
Wow, it is always possible. That's why we have elections. But it's going to be a daunting task, because what you have to understand is we have 15 Republican senators. We have to defend 15 seats in order to also try to get 4 more. So it's very challenging. And the problem is, an incumbent that is entrenched with all the nuances of incumbency makes it very, very difficult to challenge things. Although I am a real believer that this year provides a unique setting because of our incredibly difficult budget session and the disastrous budget that was supported by the majority party, Democrats. They have some explaining to do. And I think the challenge is, do we have an alternative candidate that can make it better? As I shared with you, when I won in 2008 as a challenger, I was given very little chance to succeed against an incumbent. But I found a way to really connect with people, I loved campaigning and meeting people and learning about what messages, what criteria, what they were truly concerned about. You need to have a candidate combined with a setting where the incumbent is vulnerable to create kind of the perfect fulcrum of change. And that's going to be very hard when you look at 151 House seats and 36 Senate seats. It's going to require a lot of perfect situations for that majority to occur. It's possible, but it's going to require a lot of work. If only we could make you become a grown adult candidate, I think you would make a great candidate.
And in the presidential race, it's been very interesting on both Republican and Democratic sides. Can you give us like some of your stance? And I know you've supported John Kasich.
Yes, I'm a huge advocate of Governor Kasich, and he has reinforced my support because of his conduct in the debates. He has, in most cases, seemed to be the only adult in the room. He reflects a political value system that says we administer, we govern for the greater will of the people, and that we have an important responsibility to represent the people in a manner that deems proper and appropriate. And the negative and the baiting and the childish goading of our political process right now in this primary is disappointing and alarming. And I think the people of Connecticut and the people of this United States deserve better. We are the Americans of the United States of America, and we should conduct ourselves as a world leader of democracy as we are, not as baiting people of childish games.
And Donald Trump is in the race. Do you think he's hurting the Republican Party at all?
Well, I think he has created a dilemma, but also a tremendous opportunity. He has increased voter turnout in Republicans that were Obama-like. The other part of it is I truly wish that he was able to explore deeper into policy, into really how he can make America great again, as he talks about so much. I really have not seen a depth of policy. I've not seen a depth of understanding foreign policy in regards to immigration. I just haven't seen it. I think he says he's going to do it, but I haven't seen it. And we have been debating and talking about this presidential election a long, long time. And he's been in front of television a lot of times. The real challenge I have is, has he really demonstrated that he fully understands the enormous responsibility of being president of the United States? The jury's still out.
And speaking about immigration, I know you are an immigrant. Can you tell us like what your stance is on illegal immigration and both legal immigration?
Well, immigration is the foundation of our country. Even going back to the Mayflowers, they were immigrants that were escaping from religious persecution and had the resolve and the American resolve that they were going to create a better country, a better way of living and a better way of accomplishing. That's truly the American way. And this country has been built on a foundation of that. The challenge is in regards to undocumented, that we've had a migration of these undocumented that have been able to remain in this country and really have developed a life in this country. They have raised their children who are American citizens because of their birth here. And it's a very complex issue. What people forget is that the great immigration policy, the great immigration amnesty that occurred in this country occurred under the great one, Ronald Reagan. And that he created amnesty for those undocumented that have demonstrated that they have been major contributing members and are not a plague on our community and creating difficulties and challenges. We need to really move away from the demagoguing of immigrants into categories because of our lack of understanding, but truly look at how we can tap the best of immigrants in our country to make America the great diverse melting pot that it is. But we need to remember that there is no easy solution, and I truly believe building a wall is never going to stop them. I came from a country that built the biggest wall in this world, called the Great Wall of China, and it didn't work to keep the Mongols from invading China.
And going back to the 2016 election, I know John Kasich, he supports Common Core, and I know you're a big education leader. Can you tell us what you think of Common Core?
Here's the great thing about America. I don't agree with the governor on that issue. I believe Common Core is a one-size-fits-all in regards to education. And in the state of Connecticut, we have 169 unique towns, sizes and demographics and character. To say that Common Core and testing as a panacea for educational excellence, I don't buy it. And as a result, I don't subscribe to Governor Kasich's philosophy. But isn't that the greatness of this country?
Connecticut is really known for its great pizza throughout New Haven and the rest of the state. Can you tell us your favorite pizza restaurant?
You know, I love pizza. And to say there's one pizza that defines it all would be shortchanging anyone who loves pizza. Now, I can cite Pepe's, Sally's, Modern, Colony Pizza, the pizza of Naughty Dolphin down in my home district. You have, did I say Colony Pizza? Yeah. Right? Look, I even had great pizza in Asia. Here's the deal. Great pizza is great pizza. All right? So, but if I had to choose one, oh boy, can I call it Sally Pepe's?
Sure, yeah.
All right, but you know what? I used to say that it'd be impossible to mess up pizza. I've had messed up pizza. But I love pizza, and you know, aren't we lucky to live in a state that has great pizza?
Yeah.
And you know what? Wouldn't it be a great exercise for us to go eat every single one and try it? I think I'd do that.
And since you are in the state legislature, you probably have to read a lot. So, do you have a favorite book?
Oh my gosh. You know, I went to college at Cornell, and I went to the School of Industrial Labor Relations. The acronym of ILR, we translated in our school as I love reading. We read so much, and it's fabulous that we're here in this law tax report library. I will tell you, I feel as though I'm surrounded by books everywhere I go and reading. But you know what? Reading is educational, and it allows us to learn and develop information and knowledge to make us better. And what we have to do is, when we're in Hartford, we have to represent the people to the best of our ability. Yes, that means we have to read a lot. That means we have to ask a lot of great questions like you're asking. And we have to be advocates for our representatives in our community. We have been sent there to act and advocate on their behalf. And that's our job, and that's what we do. So if it means I have to read a lot, if it means I have to read and ask a lot of questions, I'm certainly going to do it because that's something that I love doing, because it's a privilege and honor to represent the people of the 28th District.
Do you have any hobbies you like to do?
I love to play sports, and more than anything, I love interacting with young people. I really am inspired when I see young people who believe in the political process, that believe that they are part of the solution, rather than the disillusionment that politics doesn't matter to them anymore, that they don't have input and control over what really goes on in Hartford and in Washington, as well as their own towns. For me, my belief and my hobby is I love to play sports, but I don't play as much. But if I had to trade, my biggest hobby would be to go into schools, elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools, and to be able to empower young people like yourselves to say that political leaders like us are accountable to you, and that what you passionately feel and what you care about should be heard and should be valued.
And now it's time for the big question.
When are you running for president?
Will you run for Congress, Senate, or Governor in 2018?
You know, I am running for an office in 2018 in some form or shape. I have indeed set up an exploratory committee for 2018, but I'm exploring, and that's the beauty of it. Anything can happen, but you know what? I love what I do right now, and there's so much that still needs to be done. So for me, I'm focused on being the best state senator I can for the 28th district. But at the same time, everything we do is for the service of the people that we represent. If there is a different calling and a different role, when we get to it, we will do our best in that endeavor as well. But the reality of what we do is never forget that we have a responsibility here and now, and that is to represent the people of the 28th district, in my case, to the best of my ability.
And that's it for Senator Tony Hwang. I'd like to thank you, Senator, and I'd like to thank my production assistant, Sam. He can come in.
Hey, Sam.
Please subscribe, like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, basically anything. And thank you for watching, and we will see you next time on Raving Ryan.